one of the interesting things, and I think I mentioned this to you at Stonehenge, that there's a tradition at Stonehenge from this book from 1666 that writes about these, what they call the Kerkwyk giants. And what they did, they would actually have furnaces, and the stone would be turned to powder, and they would reform it into whatever shapes they wanted. And this was an old tradition in England. It's a bit like the Cyclops of Greece, that they would have underground furnaces where they would be able to shape and manipulate stone. But the tradition, there's no traditions really of that in Egypt that I've heard of, you know, where you hear these legends or stories that might give a little clue. Do you think there's any reality to that, or you think it's a way they just try to explain it?
I think intuitively there are certainly, I mean, people can land on there's some subtle differences, like geopolymers, kind of, I think of that as the idea of like a modern cement, which is a geopolymer, right? It's essentially a slurry or a powdered substance. You wet, it sets, and it forms, you know, a hard surface. And cement is a geopolymer. Another kind of angle people can take at it, and this is like an intuition you get looking at the architecture in places like South America, Sacred Valley of Peru. It's like some sort of form of stone softening, where it's not, you're not really a geopolymer, but somehow the stone is being softened like a toffee, and it's pushed into place, and that's like just intuitively, given the curves and the flowing design of those stones, it's like, oh, maybe if that's the case. We don't have a lot of evidence, or any evidence really, for how that might have been done. Specifically with geopolymers, I don't dismiss the idea. I try to remain open to it. In fact, there is some good evidence for it in places like Tiwanaku and a lot of other sites around the world. We literally have quarries. We have bedrock quarries where there are still objects attached to the quarry that were being carved out. So it seems pretty clear to me that a lot of this is stone that's coming from bedrock. It's being cut out and transported. You also have machining, you know, witness marks and tools for how it's being shaped. That's not to say that there isn't any merit to it. I do think that it's an interesting topic for explanation. I think there is some evidence for it in places like Tiwanaku that bears more research going into it, and I try to keep an open mind about it.